I have a Honda Odyssey here. This one got hit dead center in the back pretty hard, and it's stuffed. This reinforcement bar and rear body panel. Let's get a new lift gate as well. I have the new rear body panel right here. But before I start cutting it apart, I'm gonna make some pulls and pull all this damage out, because whenever this reinforcement bar went in, it definitely shifted these frame rails around some. So I'm gonna pull off this rebar in order to get everything to shift back. Then I will make some measurements, measure the frame, make sure it's exactly where it's supposed to be. And once I know that's good, then I will start cutting this one apart. So I have our measuring turtle on the track underneath this van, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna match the turtle to the vehicle so it knows exactly where the vehicle's sitting. And once I match it to the car, then I'll be able to come back here and make my measurements to make sure these frame rails are where they're supposed to be. And if they're not, then I could shift them. So I have all these different attachments here, and I have to go to 5 points in the center section of the vehicle. And depending on which point I go to, it tells me which attachments to use. So this will be my first point, and then I have 4 more to go to. So this measuring system is giving me problems. It's not working correctly. I have the company coming out to look at it here in a little bit, but in the meantime, I'm doing some comparison measurements, and I'm using this tram gauge to measure the hole to hole, because what's common on these Odysseys, when they get hit in the reinforcement bar, those frame rails will either spread or pull in, usually spread out. And you can see I'm holding this up to here, then I'm holding it up to the new bar, and it's lining up perfectly. So that tells me that these frame rails are at least close, very close. They're not spread like I thought they were gonna be. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start cutting on this one, and as soon as the company shows up to figure out what's wrong with our measuring system, I will measure it out and check everything else. So car aligner just showed up. They got our measuring system fixed. Turns out the sensor, one of the sensors on this turtle right here, went bad. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make my measurements back here. Make sure these frame rails are exactly where they're supposed to be. So it looks like the frame rails are within spec. So we're in good shape there. I thought they were because I did my tram bar measurement earlier, but I wanted to use this to make sure because the tram bar only tell me so much. But we're in good shape, so I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna go ahead and get this cut off the rest of the way and get this thing cleaned up. Then I will start fitting up the new reinforcement bar, or not reinforcement bar, rear body panel. So this floor is kind of smashed right here, and the angle, it's not quite a 90-degree angle, but the angle is kind of flattened out right here. So I'm gonna put a clamp on here right at the peak of the curve, and I'm gonna put a little tension on it, and I'll flatten out that, well, not flatten it, I'll reproduce kind of the curve to where it's more like this. So, but I need to put a little outward tension on it in order to flatten that up to get that angle back in there. So I'm gonna put this clamp on there real quick. This clamp will give me the wide bite that I need right in that spot. So I have the car all cut apart, trimmed out, cleaned up, ready to go. Now I have my new part here. And the way they make these are different than most vehicles. The way they hook on the inside of the car, there's no way to put this panel in the way it sits right here. When they made this car, they put this on before they put all the quarter panels and inner structure and everything else in. So they have a procedure for the way they want it done. And I actually have to separate this inner piece right here. They have a cut line right here where they have me cut it, and I have to drill out some spot welds, and I will separate this inside piece off and these lower pocket pieces off, and then I will be able to hook the other side in, and it will go in place. It'll kind of hook in, then fold in. Then whenever I get it on the car, then I will put this back on and weld this plate back on. So I have to go ahead, I have to weld these plates on first before the back panel can go on. So I'm gonna go ahead and zap these on, and then we'll start prepping out the new panel for welds and get it all fit up. Well, it looks like I got this one all fit together. All my gaps look really nice and even. It shuts and latches nicely, seals good. So this one is ready to go ahead and weld together. So I'm going to pull everything back off. I'm going to give the bumper and the lift gate over to our paint department so they could go ahead and paint those. And I'm going to go ahead and get this one welded together. Then they'll come back later and cut in the rear body panel and the floor and everything. So pull this one back apart and get to welding. So this is cavity wax, and it sprays in a 360-degree pattern, and I'm going to hose it inside of all the tight areas to protect any bare metal inside of here where I welded, where you can't get to the backside. You can see right here how it sprays in every direction. Works great for corrosion protection.